The Galactic Council was the heart of the known universe. It was a place where the most powerful alien species gathered. Their ships floated around a giant station, orbiting a bright blue star. Inside the council chamber, tall figures of different colors, shapes, and designs sat in a perfect circle. Some had scales, some had feathers, some looked like living machines. They all had one thing in common. They believed their civilizations were the greatest in history. On that day, a heated debate was going on. An old alien scholar, thin and fragile, stood in the center of the chamber. His long fingers shook as he raised a glowing crystal. The crystal projected ancient records, maps, and fragments of strange stories. "My respected council members," the scholar said, his voice trembling but clear, "I bring proof that the species called humans were not just a myth. They were real, and they may still exist." The chamber erupted in laughter. A reptilian lord hissed, showing sharp teeth. "Humans? Impossible. They are bedtime stories, told to frighten hatchlings." A tall insectoid queen clicked her mandibles. "Yes, legends speak of humans as clever, dangerous beasts. But legends are nothing more than shadows." The old scholar did not stop. He projected images, ruins on forgotten worlds, weapons too advanced for their time, bones shaped like no known alien race. "You laugh," he said, "because you are afraid. The archives speak of humans not as monsters, but as survivors. A race that could adapt, fight, and rise from any disaster. They were not the strongest, not the fastest, not the most advanced, but they were something far more dangerous. They refused to die." The laughter faded into silence. For a moment, the council chamber was still. Then a booming voice echoed. It was the prime speaker, a giant machine being whose body glowed with shifting lights. "Scholar Varen, your obsession with these ghosts has wasted our time. The council deals with real threats, not fairy tales. Humans are extinct, if they ever lived at all." The old scholar lowered his head. "I pray you are right, because if humans still walk among the stars, the galaxy is not ready for them." Before anyone could respond, a sharp alarm rang through the chamber. The walls glowed red. A holographic officer rushed in, panic clear in his trembling voice. "Council members, an unknown signal has been intercepted near the outer rim." The prime speaker frowned. "Unknown? From what origin?" The officer hesitated. "That is the problem, sir. The signal is human." The chamber froze. No one moved. For centuries, humans were only myths, stories buried under dust and fear. But now, across the cold silence of space, a voice had spoken again. The scholar's old eyes glistened. "You see, the ghosts are not gone. They were waiting." The hologram shifted, and the intercepted message played. It was broken, distorted by time and distance. Yet the voice was clear enough to freeze every alien heart. "This is Captain Elias Kane of the Terran Fleet. If anyone can hear this, humanity still lives, and we remember what you did to us." Static swallowed the message. The chamber filled with whispers and fearful murmurs. "What you did to us?" the insectoid queen muttered. "What does that mean?" hissed the reptilian lord. The prime speaker's lights flickered in unease. "Impossible. These are tricks, fabrications." But deep inside, even he felt the chill. The old scholar straightened his back. For the first time in years, his voice was strong. "You thought humans were only legends. You believed them extinct. But now you know the truth. They are alive. And if the stories are even half true, then the galaxy has no idea how dangerous they truly are." The council chamber shook as the station's engines adjusted orbit. Outside, stars glittered like silent watchers. Somewhere, far away in the endless dark, humans had spoken. They had announced their return. And they were not asking for peace. The prime speaker looked around the chamber. Leaders of dozens of species, warlords, kings, queens, machine intelligences, all sat in silence, their pride melting into fear. The council had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years. They thought they were untouchable. But one name, one voice, one broken signal had reminded them of an old truth. Humans were never myths. Humans were warnings. Far away, in the shadows of forgotten stars, something ancient stirred. Ships long hidden powered up. Old flags were raised. The galaxy was about to learn what survival truly meant. The message had ended, but its echo would not fade. The forgotten myth had spoken again, and the universe would never be the same. The distress signal echoed across the galaxy. For days, the Galactic Council tried to ignore it. Some called it a trick, some called it noise, but deep inside, they all knew the truth. The voice was human. So the council made a decision. A team of scouts would investigate. If the signal was real, they would contain it before the rest of the galaxy learned. If it was false, they would erase the records and silence the rumors. The scout ship Valor was chosen. Sleek and silver, it slipped quietly into the void, guided by the ancient coordinates hidden inside the human signal. The crew was small but skilled. 5 explorers from different species, each sworn to secrecy. For weeks they traveled beyond the safe lanes of the galaxy. The stars grew thin, the systems cold and empty. At last, they found it. A dead planet, broken by craters and storms. Orbiting above it was a ship. At first, they thought it was only wreckage. The vessel was massive, scarred, and half destroyed. Entire sections were burned black, and its hull was covered in strange symbols. It drifted silently, like a tomb in space. The commander of the Valor, a tall reptilian officer, narrowed his golden eyes. That design, it is not of our kind. Not of any kind. The insectoid pilot clicked nervously. But it matches the legends, the old records. Could this truly be human? Cautiously, they brought their ship closer. The scanners struggled to read the wreck. Its material was strange, stronger than any alloy they knew, yet cracked from ancient battles. The reptilian commander whispered, almost to himself, "This ship is older than our council, and yet, it still lives." When their docking clamps connected, the crew felt a chill. The corridors inside were dark and cold, coated with dust. Their lights flickered against broken walls and long-dead machines. Every sound echoed like ghosts walking beside them. The insectoid pilot stopped suddenly. "Life signs," she clicked. "Only one. Faint. Human." The crew froze. "Impossible," one of them muttered. No human could survive this long. But they followed the signal, deeper into the silent ship. At last, they entered a chamber filled with broken pods. Most were shattered, their glass covered in frost. But one remained intact. Inside it floated a figure. Tall, broad-shouldered, with pale skin and scars across his arms. His chest rose and fell slowly. His eyes were closed, but even in sleep, his face looked fierce, like a predator dreaming of the hunt. The reptilian commander whispered the word none of them wanted to say aloud. "Human." The insectoid pilot trembled. But the legends said they were extinct thousands of years ago. The old scholar's voice from the council chamber came back to their minds. They refused to die. Suddenly, the human's eyes opened. Blue, cold, sharp as blades. The crew stepped back in shock. The human's lips moved, and a voice came out, low, rough, but clear enough for every alien to understand. "You should not have found me." For a moment, no one spoke. The human sat up inside the pod, the glass sliding away with a hiss. His muscles tensed as if ready for battle, though he had no weapon. The reptilian commander forced himself to stand tall. "We are explorers of the council. You are human." The human studied them in silence, then gave a faint smile without warmth. "So the galaxy still speaks of us. I thought time would bury our name." The insectoid pilot's mandibles clicked nervously. "The council believed your kind was a myth." The human's smile vanished. His voice grew dark. "Good. Let them believe that. For their sake." The crew exchanged uneasy looks. The human was only one man, weak from sleep, unarmed in a ruined ship. And yet, none of them felt safe. His presence alone carried weight, as if he was not just a survivor, but a warning carved into flesh. The reptilian commander tried again. "Your signal, Why did you send it? The human's eyes turned distant. Because war is coming. The kind you cannot imagine. And if the council finds me, they will learn what they tried so hard to forget. The insectoid whispered, "Forget what?" The human looked at each of them, his gaze sharp enough to cut through armor. "That once, long ago, you all feared us. And soon, you will fear us again." The chamber fell silent. Outside the windows, the dead planet turned slowly, as if watching. The alien crew felt a weight they could not explain, as if history itself had awoken from its grave. The human stood, stepping out of the pod. He was weak, his steps heavy, but his eyes never wavered. He walked like a soldier who had never forgotten the battlefield. And then the ship shook. The lights flickered. The walls groaned. The insectoid checked her scanners and froze. Something is coming. Fleet, no, an army. Not council ships. War species. The reptilian commander cursed. They must have tracked the signal. The human smile returned, cold and certain. "I told you. You should not have found me." The alien crew looked at him in horror. The galaxy's oldest myth was no longer a story. It was alive, standing before them, whispering of wars forgotten and dangers yet to come. And now, as enemy ships closed in, they understood a terrible truth. The human was not just a survivor. He was a storm. The enemy fleet arrived like a storm of fire. Dozens of warships surrounded the dead planet, their dark hulls glowing with red energy. These were not council ships. They belonged to the Tsar Dominion, one of the most feared war species in the galaxy. On board the Valor, the alien scout crew panicked. The insectoid pilot's claws clicked against the controls. "They have locked on to us. We cannot fight this many." The reptilian commander growled, his golden eyes narrowing. "Hold position. They may not know we are here." But deep inside, all of them knew the truth. The Dominion never spared anyone. They destroyed, enslaved, or burned everything in their path. In the center of the room, the human stood silently. His body was still weak, his scars fresh, but his eyes burned with an old fire. He watched the enemy fleet approach as if he had seen it all before. The reptilian commander turned to him. "You knew they would come, didn't you?" The human's lips curved into a grim smile. "Of course. Predators always smell blood." The insectoid pilot hissed. "Then what do? We cannot fight them." The human finally looked at her. His voice was calm, almost too calm. "You hide. You survive. That is what your council does best. But me? I fight." The crew froze. The reptilian commander snapped. "Fight? You are only one man." The human's smile widened, but it was not friendly. "One human is never just one." He walked past them, his steps heavy but steady, and moved toward the ruined ship where they had found him. The alien crew followed, confused and afraid. Inside the dark chambers of the ancient vessel, the human touched the walls as if they were alive. The ship responded. Old systems flickered, broken lights glowed, and faint hums returned to long-dead machines. The insectoid gasped. "This ship, it still works?" The human nodded slowly. "It remembers me, and I remember it." The crew realized the truth. This was not just a wreck. This was a Terran warship, a relic of an age when humans had fought entire empires. And now, even in its broken state, it began to awaken. The reptilian commander whispered, almost to himself, "What are you?" The human turned, his blue eyes sharp as steel. "The last thing you wanted to find." Alarms blared across the ship as the Dominion fleet began charging their weapons. The alien crew trembled, but the human seemed almost calm, as if the sight of death gave him strength. He spoke in a low voice, but it carried across the chamber. "Do you know why your council fears us? Not because we were stronger, not because we were smarter, but because we never stopped fighting. Even when the universe wanted us gone, we refused to die." He placed his hand on a control panel. The ship responded with a deep roar, power surging through its veins. Hidden weapons unfolded from the broken hull, glowing with energy older than the council itself. The insectoid pilot whispered, "This is impossible. One ship cannot stand against a fleet." The human's voice cut through her fear. One human ship can, because one human never fights alone. We carry our dead with us. We carry our history. We carry war. The first blast from the Dominion fleet struck. The ship shook, metal groaning, but it did not break. Instead, its weapons lit up, firing beams of white-hot energy that cut through enemy shields like paper. One Dominion warship exploded instantly, consumed by fire. The alien crew watched in shock. The human moved like a commander, his hands steady, his eyes never blinking. He controlled the ship as if it were part of him, as if he and the machine were one. The reptilian commander finally understood. This is why they called you myths. The human's gaze never left the battlefield. No, this is why they called us monsters. Enemy ships swarmed, but the human fought with ruthless precision. Every strike was calculated, every move designed to destroy. He turned the broken warship into a blade of fire, carving through the Dominion fleet. The insectoid covered her face, trembling. One man, one ship, against an army. The human's voice grew darker, sharper. This is not a battle. This is a message. One by one, the Dominion ships fell, burning into ash. The void outside glowed with wreckage. The human's warship, half dead yet alive again, stood alone in the storm of fire. When the last enemy vessel retreated into the void, silence filled the chamber. The alien crew looked at the human not with relief, but with fear. He turned slowly, his expression cold. Now you understand. The reptilian commander forced out the words. You are dangerous beyond measure. The human's eyes softened for just a moment, almost with sadness. No, we are necessary. The galaxy forgets what true survival means. But soon it will remember. The insectoid stepped back. The council will destroy you. They will fear you. The human shook his head. They already fear us. That is why they buried our name. That is why they called us myths. But myths do not bleed. Myths do not fight. Myths do not return. He looked out at the burning wreckage of the Dominion fleet. His voice was calm, but it carried the weight of a storm. Tell your council. Humanity is awake again. The alien crew stood in silence, their bodies trembling. They had seen legends come alive. They had seen one man destroy an army. And now they knew the truth. The forgotten myth was no longer forgotten. The awakening had begun. The council chamber was in chaos. News of the Dominion fleet's destruction had already reached them. Dozens of warships crushed by a single vessel, the one carrying the human. It was impossible, unthinkable. And yet, the evidence could not be denied. The Prime Speaker's metallic body glowed with nervous lights. A myth has returned to life. A single human destroyed an entire Dominion armada. This changes everything. The reptilian lord hissed angrily. We must unite and erase this human before his kind rises again. If one man can do this, imagine what 1,000 could achieve. The insectoid queen clicked her mandibles in fear. We cannot erase him. The galaxy already whispers his name. His message spreads. Humans are not dead. They are storms waiting to rise. The old scholar, who had once been mocked, finally spoke. His fragile voice carried weight now. I warned you. Humans were never myths. They were survivors. If one human has awakened, then others will follow. And when they do, no council will control them. The chamber fell into silence, every leader realizing the same truth. The balance of power in the galaxy was breaking. But before they could act, another alarm blared through the chamber. A hologram flickered to life. It was a report from the frontier systems. The Dominion was moving. Hundreds of warships now gathered on the edge of council space. Their leaders had sworn vengeance. The humans' victory had enraged them, and now they would not stop until the council was destroyed. The Prime Speaker's voice boomed. They come for us. They see weakness, and they are not wrong. Our fleets cannot hold them. Panic spread across the chamber. The insectoid queen clicked in despair. We are doomed. The Dominion's armies are endless. Our fleets will burn. The reptilian lord slammed his claws against the floor. Then summon the human. If he truly wields such power, let him fight for us. The council hated the idea. To trust a human was madness. To rely on one was suicide. But they had no choice. Desperation always breaks pride. Far away, aboard the Terran warship drifting near the dead planet, the humans stood silently, staring out into the stars. The alien scout crew remained with him, shaken by what they had witnessed. The reptilian commander finally spoke. The council will call for you. They need you. The human did not turn his head. His voice was cold. Need me? No. They fear me. And now, they are desperate enough to use me. The insectoid pilot clicked nervously. Will you fight for them? The human finally turned, his blue eyes sharp. I do not fight for them. I fight for survival. War is coming whether they want it or not. The reptilian commander frowned. But why help us at all? Why not let the council burn? The human's gaze hardened. Because if the Dominion wins, then all fall. My people, your people, all life will be enslaved or destroyed. And humanity does not watch the universe burn. We burn with it. His words carried a weight none of them could escape. The Dominion fleet soon entered council space. They moved like a wave of death, world after world falling before them. Planets were set on fire, cities turned to ash, and fleets shattered in battle. The council's proud armies, once thought unshakable, broke like glass before the Dominion's fury. Desperate calls for help echoed across the stars. And in the middle of this chaos, the council finally sent their plea. They asked the human to fight for them. The alien scout crew stood beside him when the message arrived. The hologram of the prime speaker filled the chamber, his mechanical voice trembling with unease. Human, we ask for your strength. The Dominion's armies are too great. Without you, we will fall. The human's expression did not change. He studied the council's leader for a long moment before answering. You buried our name. You erased our history. You feared what we were, and you tried to forget us. And now you beg for our help. The prime speaker's lights flickered in shame. Yes, we beg. Without you, billions will die. The chamber fell silent. The alien scout crew waited for the human's answer, their bodies tense. Finally, he spoke. His voice was calm but sharp like a blade. I will fight, but not for you, not for your council. I fight because war is in our blood. I fight because humanity does not run. The prime speaker lowered his head. For the first time in history, the council bowed to a single human. When the human returned to his warship, the alien crew watched in awe. The broken vessel seemed alive again, its weapons glowing brighter, its engines burning hotter. It was as if the ship itself was ready for war, feeding on the human's will. The insectoid whispered, "What are you truly?" The human did not look at her. His eyes stayed fixed on the stars where the Dominion fleets gathered. I am what you all feared. I am what your legends warned about. I am human. The Dominion's armada loomed ahead, endless and merciless. They outnumbered the council's fleets 100-1. And yet, one ship moved forward. Alone, the Terran warship, half-ruined but burning with ancient fire, cut through the void. On its bridge stood the human, his scars glowing under the lights, his hands steady on the controls. He whispered into the comms, his words carried across the stars. Dominion, you think the galaxy belongs to you. You think fear will break us. But you have forgotten one truth. The Dominion commanders laughed, their fleets ready to crush this lone challenger. The human's voice grew louder, fierce, unyielding. You cannot kill a species that refuses to die. And with that, the Terran warship charged. The battle for the galaxy had begun. The Dominion armada spread across the stars like a wall of fire. Hundreds of warships, their hulls glowing crimson, engines roaring with hunger for destruction. Against them, only one ship moved forward, a broken Terran relic, scarred and ancient, carrying a single human. Inside the council fleets, alien commanders whispered in disbelief. Some called the human mad. Others called him desperate. But none could deny the truth. They had seen what he had already done. One man, one ship against an army. The human stood on the bridge, his blue eyes fixed on the enemy. His fingers moved across the controls with steady confidence. The ship responded to him as though it were alive, as if it remembered the touch of his kind. The reptilian commander, still aboard as an unwilling witness, growled nervously. "This is suicide. They will crush us within minutes." The human gave no answer. His gaze stayed on the Dominion fleet, his breathing slow, his voice calm. "You still don't understand. This is not about numbers. It never was." The first volley of Dominion fire came. Dozens of energy beams streaked through the void, lighting the darkness like a storm. The Terran ship shook violently as explosions ripped across its hull, but it did not break. Shields long thought dead flared to life, glowing with strange light. The insectoid pilot gasped. "Those shields, they are unlike anything I have ever seen. How do they still function after centuries?" The human's lips curved into a grim smile. "Because humans built them to last. We do not prepare for battles. We prepare for wars that never end." Then he struck back. The Terran warship's weapons roared to life. Blinding beams of white fire erupted, cutting through Dominion vessels like paper. 1, then 3, then 5 ships were torn apart in seconds, their wreckage scattering like sparks across the stars. The alien crew stared in horror and awe. The human moved like a predator unleashed, each shot precise, each maneuver calculated with ruthless efficiency. It was not luck. It was not madness. It was mastery born from countless wars. The reptilian commander whispered, "No army could train this. This is something else." The human finally spoke, his voice low but filled with iron. "This is instinct. This is survival. This is humanity." More Dominion ships closed in, surrounding the Terran vessel. They unleashed waves of fire, enough to shatter a moon. Yet still the ship endured. The human did not falter. He adapted, twisted, and struck with strategies the Dominion had never seen. He turned their numbers against them, weaving through their formations, forcing them to fire upon each other. Entire squadrons fell into chaos, their commanders shouting in panic. One Dominion warlord, watching from his flagship, roared in rage. "Impossible! No single being can command such destruction." But even as he shouted, his flagship shook violently. The Terran ship had pierced their lines, its cannons glowing brighter, fueled by something far more terrifying than technology. The insectoid pilot felt it too. She trembled as she looked at the human, her mandibles clicking in fear. "It's not just the ship. It's you. You are changing." And she was right. The human's movements grew sharper, faster. His eyes glowed faintly, his body no longer looked weak. Every scar across his skin seemed to pulse with energy, as if the war itself was feeding him. The reptilian commander's eyes widened. He is not only fighting with machines. He is fighting with something inside him. The human heard, but he did not deny it. His voice was quiet, deadly calm. "Humans were shaped by war. Every battle we fought carved us into what we are. We were never the strongest, so we learned to become relentless. We were never the fastest, so we became unstoppable. Do you understand now? You cannot outlast us. You cannot outfight us. We are the end you fear." He unleashed another volley. The Dominion flagship, the largest of the armada, cracked under the blast. Its hull split open, fire consuming it as its crew screamed. The Council fleets, watching from a safe distance, were stunned. Their soldiers, their leaders, all sat in silence as the impossible unfolded before their eyes. One alien officer whispered, "One man is rewriting history." The old scholar, who had always believed, finally allowed himself a faint smile. "No, he is reminding history." When the battle ended, the void was silent again. Wreckage of hundreds of Dominion ships drifted across the stars. Flames still burned on shattered hulls. The Terran vessel floated alone in the center of the destruction, scarred but unbroken. Inside, the human stood tall. His chest rose and fell with heavy breaths, but his eyes burned brighter than ever. The reptilian commander dared to speak. "You destroyed them. One man against an empire. The human shook his head slowly. His voice was steady, almost sorrowful. No, this is not victory. This is only the beginning. The Dominion will send more. And others will rise when they hear of this. You think the galaxy fears me now? Wait until they realize I am not alone. The insectoid pilot froze. Not alone? What do you mean? The human's gaze turned distant, as though he could see across the stars. Humanity never died. We scattered. We hid. We waited. And now we remember. We are waking up. The alien crew trembled. They understood the weight of his words. If one human could do this, then what would happen when many returned? The human stepped closer to the window, staring into the endless dark. His voice carried like thunder. Tell your council. Tell every species. Tell the Dominion. Humanity was never extinct. We were never myths. We were warnings. His eyes narrowed, cold and sharp. And the warning has only just begun. The stars were quiet again. The Dominion armada was gone, their burning wreckage drifting in the void. The battlefield was littered with broken ships, shattered weapons, and silence. But in that silence, something new was born: fear. Across the galaxy, news of the battle spread like wildfire. One human, one ancient ship, had destroyed an empire's fleet. The Galactic Council, once the most powerful force in known space, had been reduced to frightened witnesses. In the council chamber, leaders from dozens of species gathered. Their voices were low, their eyes filled with unease. The insectoid queen trembled as she spoke. We mocked the myths. We laughed at the old warnings. But the stories were true. The humans live. The reptilian lord hissed. Not only live, they are gods of war. If more awaken, no power can stand against them. The prime speaker's glowing body pulsed with nervous light. Then we must decide. Do we destroy them now, while only one stands before us? Or do we bend our pride and call them allies? The chamber filled with arguments, shouts, and fear. But none of them could agree because deep inside, they all knew one truth: humanity could not be controlled. Far from the council, aboard the Terran warship, the human stood with the alien scout crew. The stars burned bright outside, but his eyes were fixed on something farther, something unseen. The reptilian commander finally spoke. You saved the council. You saved billions. Yet they still fear you. The human gave a faint, cold smile. Good. They should. The insectoid pilot tilted her head. Will you go back to them? Will you stand with the council against the Dominion? The human's gaze hardened. No. The council is weak. They think survival means hiding behind walls. But survival means more. It means standing when everything else falls. He turned toward the crew, his voice steady. I did not fight for the council. I fought because this war will not stop with them. The Dominion will rise again. Others will rise too. And when they do, the galaxy will need to remember what it means to resist. The insectoid's mandibles clicked nervously. You speak as if you are not alone. The human's eyes grew distant, his voice almost a whisper. I am not. Humanity was never gone. We scattered, yes. We hid in shadows, waiting. We let the galaxy forget us. But now, he placed his hand on the ship's console. The lights flared, and the stars ahead shifted, showing hidden signals in the void. Dozens of faint transmissions appeared, coded, ancient, but unmistakably human. The reptilian commander's eyes widened. Other ships, other humans. The human nodded slowly. They are out there. Fleets sleeping in forgotten space. Colonies buried under dead worlds. Soldiers waiting in silence. And now, one voice has woken them. The insectoid whispered in fear and awe. Your signal. The message you sent. The human's cold smile returned. It was not a cry for help. It was a call to arms. On a distant world, deep beneath the ice, old bunkers stirred. Engines roared after centuries of silence. Lights flickered to life in vast underground hangars where Terran ships had slept. In another corner of the galaxy, a forgotten colony raised its old flag again, a banner marked with the symbol of Earth. One by one, across the stars, humanity answered the call. Back aboard the Terran warship, the alien crew watched in shock. The human stood tall, his scars glowing faintly under the ship's lights. The reptilian commander whispered, almost to himself, "The galaxy is not ready for this." The human's eyes burned with fire. "It was never meant to be ready. That is the point." The insectoid asked softly, "Then what do humans want now? Revenge? Conquest?" For a long moment, the human said nothing. His gaze drifted to the stars, endless and dark, his voice finally breaking the silence. "We want nothing. We take nothing. We ask for nothing. But if anyone comes for us, if anyone dares to wake the storm," he turned, his eyes sharp as blades, "then they will remember why humanity was never just a myth. We are not stories. We are not ghosts. We are the warning carved into the bones of history." The warship's engines roared to life. The human looked out at the burning wreckage of the Dominion fleet, his expression calm, his voice steady. "Tell your council this. Tell the galaxy. We are awake, and we never forget." Far beyond, in the dark corners of forgotten space, human fleets stirred. Old weapons lit up. Ancient soldiers opened their eyes. The galaxy, once certain of its power, now trembled. The legacy of humanity had returned. And this time they would not be forgotten.